1, the first spawning. 3.8 billion years ago, the Hadean Ocean. Earth was barely recognizable as a world. The young planet still bled heat from its violent formation, its surface a nightmare landscape of volcanic hellscapes and acidic seas. The atmosphere was poison. Methane, ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide. Nothing that would later be called life could breathe it. The oceans were not blue but rust red, heavy with dissolved iron and sulfur compounds. Meteorites still bombarded the surface regularly, each impact releasing energies equivalent to millions of nuclear weapons. It should have been sterile. It should have been dead. But in the deepest trenches of this primordial ocean, where superheated water from the planet's molten mantle mixed with the freezing waters above, where toxic chemicals concentrated in ways that would never occur again, something happened. Not life as it would later be understood. Not even quite chemistry as it would later be categorized. But something in between. A cascade of self-replicating molecular patterns that found the violent, toxic environment not hostile, but perfect. The first proto-Dracul were nothing like their descendants would become. They were barely more than complex protein chains wrapped in lipid membranes, floating in the superheated water near thermal vents. But they had 3 characteristics that would define their entire evolutionary trajectory. They consumed other molecular structures to grow. They replicated with variations, allowing rapid adaptation. And most crucially, they thrived in conditions that would destroy almost any other form of chemistry. Part 2. The hostile garden, 3.5 billion years ago. The age of protocells. While other life struggled to emerge in the shallow, UV-bombarded surface waters, simple photosynthetic bacteria that would eventually fill the atmosphere with oxygen and poison themselves, the proto-Dracul flourished in the deep. They grew larger, more complex. They developed primitive sensory organs that could detect chemical gradients and electrical fields. They evolved rudimentary locomotion, cilia and flagella, that allowed them to swim toward food sources or away from dangers. Most importantly, they developed the beginning of their signature biological architecture. They learned to build. The first structures were crude, aggregations of cells that worked together, forming colonies around thermal vents. These colonies discovered they could manipulate their environment, secreting chemicals that altered the mineral composition of the surrounding rock, creating cavities and channels that concentrated nutrients. They were the first architects of the deep, and they were voraciously, relentlessly hungry. Any other molecular structure that drifted near the colonies was absorbed, broken down, integrated. The proto